Tigers dropped game 3, but have they done enough to lock up a national seed? It's Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked on LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We're free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you sincerely for that. LSU drops game 3, 7-4 to Arkansas, and what would probably best be characterized as a frustrating loss. Case and Evans didn't have his best stuff. LSU got off to an early lead. They had an opportunity after Arkansas took the lead to punch back, and they just came up short with a big opportunity. And then your bullpen failed you late after you'd really make it a game. So Tigers, after this loss, drop the series finale there to Arkansas. So LSU on the season now, inching closer to 20 league wins. They're at 17 with 3 games to go here in Columbia, South Carolina, a very bad South Carolina team. But let what happened this weekend in College Station be a telltale. Missouri was 0-24 in the league, went to College Station and swept the Aggies. So it's baseball, man. Anything can happen. You got to go to Columbia next week and take care of business, but you win that weekend 2 out of 3, you're going to lock up a national seed. So we'll talk about the game here. Hey, thank you so much for being with us. Again, if you're new to this format, maybe just finding us for the first time here, we've been here all year with these post-game shows, but appreciate you greatly. I'll give you about 10 minutes here of my commentary on the game. I'll grab my quick break, and we'll get to you and your questions and comments. So please drop them in the comments below. If you're watching or listening on demand, thank you. Shout out to our everydayers. But shout out if you're listening or watching on demand. Remember, go to YouTube, set the notifications, and subscribe to the channel so you're notified whenever we go live so you can join us here on the show. A few takeaways here from the game. Case and Evans wasn't his best, and you would figure that giving the ball to Evans on a Sunday is going to give you an advantage. It just wasn't in this ball game today. Evans, even from the first inning, although they didn't touch him in the first, he struck out the first batter, but if you remember, the first batter reached on an error, then went strikeout, ground ball into a double play. They still were hitting him. He wasn't really missing bats. In the top of the second, he went walk, double. This was a big instance because after he went walk, double, you had second and third, nobody out. Line out to Jones, strike out, and they got the ground out. So Evans got out of it, but even that line out was allowed out there that could have gotten Arkansas on the board. And then in the top of the third, after LSU had scored in the second with homers from Hernandez and Milam to go up 2-0, top of the third, Arkansas strikes for 4 on Evans. And that really was the point of the game where you needed to punch back. Tigers had an opportunity, bottom 3, after you let off with a single, foul out, then single to pull within 4-3. You go hit by pitch, bases are loaded, and you ground into the double play with an opportunity to tie the game or take the lead. And if I go back to the bottom of the second, actually, in the bottom of the second, you had after the single, which scored a run, you had 2 on, hit by pitch to load the bases, then you grounded the double play with the bases loaded. So you had runners in scoring position in both the bottom of the second and the bottom of the third. Bottom of the second was hit by pitch strikeout. Bottom of the third was hit by pitch ground ball double play. But either way, you had opportunities to really break through in the second and the third and give yourself some separation in a game where Arkansas was probably not feeling great. After losing the first 2 games, especially losing game 2, the manner in which they did, blowing game 1, or actually blowing a save opportunity in game 1 with LSU's big rally, and then LSU walking you off, winning 13-3, run ruling you in game 2. Confidence was probably not very high for Arkansas. You had an opportunity up 2-0 early, even after they counterpunched to make it 4-2, top 3. You had an opportunity bottom 3 with the bases loaded, and you ground into a double play. So that really was kind of the moment where you felt like you had an opportunity because the Tigers didn't score again until the 8th. So, look, you had an opportunity because you pulled within 5-4 in the 8th. after Pearson had the pinch hit single and you had the RBI ground out. You went single, RBI ground out. But in any event, your pitching staff in the ninth got away from you. And this was the bugaboo that we saw in game 2 in the 7th when they pulled Ianson and just tried to get home and you gave up 3 runs in the top of the 7th. We saw it in this game in the 9th inning, which was a total mess where LSU put Ware in for Myers. Look, hat tip to Jacob Myers, by the way, who came in and got a big strikeout of Aheva Aloy to end the 8th inning after Jay Johnson had gotten ejected. But you come out in the 9th with Ware, walks the leadoff guy. Schmidt comes in, walks the next 2. So bases are loaded. They go to Rizzi. Rizzi gets the pop out on the infield and then walks in a run on an 11-pitch at bat. So it's 6-4. Then Rizzi gives up the single. It's 7-4. They go to Fontenot, who gets you out of it, but in any event, at that point, 7-4, and it was all over but the shout. And Tigers got a couple of runners on in the 9th, but to no avail after Aaron Beatty struck out, and then you had the line out from Hernandez to end it. So aside from LSU's opportunities in the 2nd and the 3rd, Evans struggles. The bullpen walks were clearly an issue in this game, especially late, and it's something that, by and large, this weekend you had avoided, but in this game, you ended up walking 9 hitters. When you're facing what is the best lineup in college baseball, the best lineup in the SEC this year, statistically, you walked 9. I mean, if you give that lineup 9 base runners, they're going to hurt you. And ultimately, look, you matched them on hits. Each team had 10 hits in this ball game, but they left 12 on base, which means it could have been worse. You left 11 on base, which means you certainly had more opportunities. You didn't come through. It's probably one of those games where you're going to look back and lament the missed opportunities and giving them 9 base runners via the walk. But when you look at who issued the walks, Evans walked 3. Shores was awesome today, by the way. 3 1/3, struck out 4, allowed just 1 run on 2 hits. He issued 1 walk. Cooper Williams went 2/3 of an inning with a walk. But then Ware had a walk, Schmidt had 2, Rizzi had 1. That's 2/3, 4 walks in the 9th inning. I mean, you walked 4. You walked in a run in the 9th inning. So, had you been able to have a clean 9th and gone into the bottom of the 9th in a 5-4 ball game, maybe it feels a little differently when you're excitable, getting a couple of runners on base early, just 1 out. But with a 3-run deficit, you did bring the tying run to the plate, and Aaron Beatty and Hernandez. It just wasn't enough in that situation. And then the other notable thing here is that Jay Johnson got tossed. If you saw it there in the 8th, I posted a video on my Twitter. If you want to follow me at Matt Moscona, if you didn't see it, felt like a total ump show situation. Really, the way I saw it, and you tell me if you saw something different, because I know if you just watch it cold, you're going to watch Hernandez sweep the mitt toward the batter. And sometimes, unfortunately, when a catcher is active behind or a better way to say it is when a catcher is not still behind the plate, the umpire's eyes may see that, and it may trigger a ball to say, well, there was confusion. The pitcher didn't miss a spot. You see a dramatic move from the catcher. That's why being still behind the plate to frame pitches and steal strikes is so important. That probably was a strike in that situation in the 8th inning. That probably was a strike that crossed the plate in the strike zone and should have been a strike from Williams. But and maybe Jay will talk about it after the game. We'll see what he says. But very likely what happened there is they got a little crossed up, Williams and Hernandez did. And so Hernandez having to make a pretty sudden move caused the ump to think he missed his spot and call it a ball. It was probably a strike. And then Jay came out, and if you argue balls and strikes, you get ejected, which is why he got run. And you could see him mouthing it. You didn't give me a warning. And I have no problem whatsoever with Jay Johnson going to bat for his guys. I have no problem whatsoever with him arguing the validity of that call. And if you remember earlier in the game, and forgive me, I don't have the note of when this was, but there was a spot earlier in the game where there was a check swing, and this might have been top 2 after the line out. So the top 2, you went walk double, the line out to Jones. So there's 1 out. I think this is where it was. It was top 2. They have a check swing, which looks like strike three. First base ump blows the call. Home plate ump missed it. First base ump rules it a ball that he checked his swing, which was awful. You watch the replay. It was terrible. And Jay starts barking at the first base umpire going, watch the game. You could see him do it. So I think by that point in the game, he was fed up. And I don't blame him. The only thing I blame him for is not going to get your money's worth. My thing is always, look, in baseball, you going to get tossed? Awesome. I have no problem with getting tossed. I have no problem with a coach turning his hat backward, kicking dirt, making a scene. But you go get tossed, bro. Go get your money's worth. You're out of the game anyway. He just could have calmly walked out there and, pointed his finger and all you're already out the game, dog. You might as well make it count. But in any event, so the Tigers drop game 3, 7-4. Disappointing, but for LSU now. Let me update the real-time RPI from Walter Nolan. Again, this is a real-time thing. So LSU 40-12 on the season now after the loss. And I want to make sure that they have updated this. Forgive me. Let's see. I want to make sure I got this right. Forgive me. Just give me 1 second. So LSU, after the loss, falls to 40-12, 17-10 in the league. That's the other bummer, too, is if you had won this game, you would have overtaken Arkansas for second place in the SEC behind Texas. I still don't think either of these teams are going to catch Texas, but it still you would have overtaken Arkansas. Now you have a series win over Arkansas, but they lose the series next week to Tennessee and you win the series against South Carolina, you could overtake him. But in any event, so Tigers 40-12, 17-10 in the conference. Real-time RPI, LSU remains 7, Arkansas remains 5. So you're 7 in the RPI. You are very firmly in as a national seed after this series win over Arkansas. You go win 2 games in Columbia to get to 19. You're a national seed. It's that simple. Just don't go throw up on yourself the way Texas A&M did this weekend against Missouri, and you'll be a national seed. Tigers did what they had to do, which was take 2 at home against Arkansas. How big was that 9th inning rally now on Friday in game 1? Okay, it is Locked on LSU, your team every day. Quick break. Come back, and I'll get to your questions and comments, so please drop them. Thanks for being here with us. It's Locked on LSU, your team every day. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Listen, it's also easy collaboration. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever, so you can track shared and personal accounts. You can set goals. You can stay on the same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Again, that's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Okay, let's get to your questions and comments as LSU drops game 3, 7-4 to Arkansas. Tigers now are at 17-10 in the league, 40-12 overall with the win. Arkansas moves to 41-11, 18-9 in the SEC. So Arkansas 1 game better than LSU overall and in the conference with just 3 to play. Arkansas will go play Tennessee this weekend while LSU is on the road in Columbia against Paul Maneri's South Carolina squad. Spurge! Happy Mother's Day to E-Rock, Mama Scone. Appreciate it, man. Belated Happy Mother's Day to all of the moms. If you're watching and you're a mom, God bless you. Thank you for all that you do, for all of your patience, your perseverance, your sacrifice, your love. It's a day where we celebrate moms, and I sincerely am grateful for my mom, for my mother-in-law, for my wife, Erica, who's an amazing wife and mother to our son, Drew. So to all the moms, sincerely, happy Mother's Day today. Anthony says, Matt, who are the other 2 pitchers you choose right now outside of the obvious 5? Anderson, Ianson, Shores, Cowan, Evans. It's funny you include Shores there because not sure that most would normally include or have included Shores there. But Shores, who was shaky on a day ago, was really good in this ball game. Yeah, I think Maverick Rizzi is clearly a guy that Jay Johnson likes. DJ Primo is the first lefty out of the pen. After that, I think Connor Ware, Connor Benj, Cooper Williams are the next three that you're likely to see. William Schmidt will clearly have a role as well. So I think it's going to be a situation where we see a lot of, pitching. It's going to be situational pitching like we've seen here, because you don't have guys, deep number of guys that you trust. Let's see. Now people can see why Evans is more valuable at the back of the game instead of the beginning. When teams see your pitches in the first round, it's easier to pick up the second time around. That's undeniably true. It's also one of the things I've said about Zach Cowan this year is you're a two-pitch guy, you're a low 90s fastball, and you're a changeup. The second time through the lineup, when they see the changeup, you're more likely to get hit. But yes, I still think Kason Evans is going to be a starter. He might well be your Friday night guy next year, but he is more valuable to this team at the back of a bullpen if you have a lead and he can go close it. So, for example, if LSU had gotten to a situation in game 2 where it was a 5-4 ball game in the 8th, and you could give the ball to Evans and say, go get me 6 outs, they 100% are going to do that. When you have a chance to win, they're going to do it. Ryan said, miserable series for Jones. Yeah, I figured we'd talk about this, so I did tally it up. So Jared Jones in game 1 was 2 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. One of the hits was a bloop. He went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, 2 walks in game 2, and then in game 3, he was 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. So for the series, Jared Jones was 2 for 13 with 7 strikeouts and 2 walks. Not great. But he's also awesome. He missed a home run in this game by 5 feet. Was that his AB in the first or the second inning? I think it was his AB in the second inning. I'm looking at my notes. Forgive me. No, I think it was in the third inning when he flew out after Curiel's leadoff single. But anyway, Jared Jones of late has had way too much swing and miss. The strikeouts are concerning, but it's just hey, take a deep breath, settle down, and do what you've done all year. Show hope we don't see him again. Unfortunately, you will. Let's see. Bryce Tubbs, was atrocious. Jones, I agree. Jones is striking out way too much. Tremaine, game went downhill after Jay was tossed. I don't know, man, because after Jay was tossed in the 8th, Myers got the big strikeout of Vahebo Loy, and then you came back and you rallied and got a run in the bottom of the 8th to make it 5-4. The problem is where Schmidt and Rizzi kept walking guys. I don't think that had anything to do with Jay Johnson not being there. And I think they did the right thing. They brought in Ware to go lefty, walked him. Brought in Schmidt, walked 2 guys. I mean, I think they made the right decisions. Just got their strikes. Why did they take Myers out? Yeah, because they were going lefty at the top of the 9th. They brought in Myers to get the strikeout of Aloy. He did. It's what Myers is great at. They weren't going to go righty-lefty at the start of the next inning. They were going lefty, which I believe is the right call. Again, I'll tell you this all the time when we talk baseball. Baseball is a game of failure. You fail 70% of the time, you're in the Hall of Fame. So when it comes to baseball strategy, as long as I can understand the logic behind what you're doing, then I can live with the result. So I can live with what they did in the 9th. They went to Ware to go lefty. I have no problem with that. Ware issued a walk. It was a one-hitter thing. Ben McDonald even called it on the broadcast. They go get Schmidt. Schmidt walks the next 2 guys. I don't have a problem with what they were doing there. It just didn't work. Hey, John, no shot at beating Arkansas on the home plate umpire. He called one-sided all day. Quick hook for Jay when he flinched to make a strikeout call. I don't think I didn't think the umpire was any worse for LSU than it was for Arkansas. I say it all the time. All umps, officials, referees, they're all bad at their job because it's impossible to be good at that job. It's why we need robots. But some people want to live with human error, which I think is stupid because there's just too much at stake for human error. Think about in game 1, the play at the plate that got overturned, right? Like initially called out, overturned to be called safe. Like that's significant. That's a run scored in a game that ended up going into extra innings. Like, I'm not good with human error. I get it right. We have the technology, get it right. So get it right. Greg asked if the moment was too big for Schmidt. Maybe. I've said this all year. I think I look at Schmidt a lot like Anderson a year ago. Anderson was the number one pitcher in the state of Louisiana. He was so good in the midweek in the non-conference, but he had an ERA of 27 in SEC play. He just wasn't ready. 1 year later, 1 year of development, 1 year in the program, he's going to be a top 15 pick in the draft. William Schmidt has all that potential and promise. It's just mound time and getting comfortable. So maybe it is a thing where he's just, as a freshman, not ready for those moments. But he's going to be fantastic. So I'm sincerely not worried about William Schmidt. The stuff is so good. Give him an off season of command. Coming back next year with Schmidt and Evans, in addition to whoever else you add in the portal, you're going to be fantastic next year. Hate changing pitchers so much. Love the Tigers. Terry, I'll tell you what I hate about changing pitchers so much is that ended up being a 4-hour baseball game in regulation. Like, when people complain about baseball being too long, that's what they're talking about. Like, I love the fact that you got to get all 27 outs and that there's no clock. But tempo and pace of play is why, like, the pitch clock is there, and why you want to have things like cutting down on review time and all that sort of stuff to speed the pace of play. But a 4-hour regulation baseball game is just kind of crazy. Mo said a couple thoughts. Schmidt doesn't need to keep pitching. Completely disagree. Shores is a starter. Maybe. Never liked taking him out of his role. Umpire has been bad every series, even though the SEC is the best conference. That will agree on that. Umpires in every league are bad, though. I don't know about Shores. I mean, I'm kind of with you with Shores as a starter. I'm okay keeping him there, but Shores is really good out of the bullpen today. And if you feel like Evans is a better option as your day 3 guy, then you leave that TBD. And it may be a thing where if you get into a game 2 situation where you need to use Evans and you're looking who's going to be your game 3 starter, Shores could certainly step right back into that role. I don't think there's any problem with that whatsoever at all. Let's see, Matt, can you explain how the college baseball postseason works? First time for me watching college baseball season its entirety. Cool, man. Bryce, well, thanks for being there, man. That's awesome. Welcome to the college baseball party. Yeah, so on Memorial Day, the field of 64 will be announced. You'll have 8 national seeds and 16 regional host sites. So you'll have 16 4-team regionals. 8 of those 16 hosts will be national seeds, meaning if they advance, they would host the super regional round, which is a best of 3 weekend. So you'll have a regional round. It's a 4-team regional where you got to win 3 games effectively, unless you fall in the losers bracket. If you advance out of that, you go to a best 2 out of 3 weekend in the super regional. And then the 8 teams that advance out of the supers go to the College World Series. And then you play a tournament there. So that's why when you hear us say super regional being a national seed, it's so important, because LSU has never advanced to the College World Series in this era, which started in 1999. They've never advanced to the College World Series as a road team in a super regional. Now, they've lost home super regionals. 2012 to Stony Brook, 2016 to Coastal Carolina, and 2019 to Florida State. But they've never advanced to Omaha having to travel for the super regional round. That's why it's so important for LSU to lock up one of those national seeds. And with 2 wins against South Carolina next weekend, you will do that before you even go to Hoover for the SEC tournament. All right, please smash that like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. If you're watching or listening on demand, remember, please go to the Locked on LSU YouTube channel. And subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And if you are with us, here live, please smash that like button. Let's see. Corey said lineup reminds me of the 23 season, half and half through the season. It'll put together in the postseason. I mean, LSU is still 3rd in the SEC in batting average. I mean, they've been really good. Everybody has bad days. This was a day where, unfortunately, your pitching got away from you and you had some big opportunities early in the game to put up crooked numbers and you just didn't do it. So that happens. But you won 2 out of 3, and that's awesome. I mean, that's what you're really hoping for. Let's see. Rager said John Pearson pinch hitting for Jake Brown. Yeah, so John Pearson pinch hit for Jake Brown in the John Pearson pinch hit in the bottom of the seventh with one man on. So they went strikeout, ground out, walk, and then John Pearson pinch hit for Jake Brown and struck out. They were just going righty-lefty there. With a left-handed pitcher in, they went to the right-handed bat on the bench in John Pearson. And if not John Pearson, I don't know what right-hander you're going to, because a lot of the guys we've seen come off the bench as pinch hitters, like today, Josh Pearson pinch hit, Tanner Reeves, Dalton Beck. Those are the guys, by and large, we've seen in a pinch hit role this year, and they're from the left side. So, if you were starting Reeves at third, then Braswell could be a right-handed pinch hit opportunity, but Braswell's been starting at third, so that wasn't really an option. So, if Kate Arambidi did end up pinch hitting in the ninth inning from the right side. So, I guess that could have been an option there. But then what do you do in the outfield, right? So, I don't know. Y'all know I'd rather see Jake Brown being there, hitting every opportunity he can. Brown was 1 for 3 on the day. He did strike out twice, but he was 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts before they lifted him for John Pearson. Let's see a couple more if we can. Tim said one good thing is Shores showing he can pitch twice in the weekend, give you some extended relief. Has to be an option for you in the postseason to eat some innings. Listen, you have inning eaters on the staff. Shores can do it. Cowan can do it. Evans can do it. Let's not forget Connor Ware was a starter. Most of these guys have been starters. Like, it's almost like the Nate Ackenhausen thing, where Ackenhausen gave you 6 innings of brilliant ball in an elimination game against Tennessee in the 2023 College World Series, when the longest he had gone all year was maybe 4, maybe 3 2/3. I looked it up before, but they have the ability. You just don't necessarily need them to do that a lot, but you may in the postseason, especially if you find yourself in a loser's bracket situation. Fred, did I mismatch Jake Brown ran after pinch hitting John Pearson? I did not rant. I didn't rant. I've just come to accept it. Like, it's what it is. I know how they're going to handle the lineup in the situation. It's not what I would do, but y'all know how I feel about it. It's not what I would do, but they can do what they want. See if I can maybe get a couple of more in here, maybe 1 or 2 more. Brennan said never pinch hit for a big leaguer. Who cares about lefty righty? I agree with you. There are some that argue, well, look at, I know they mentioned it on the broadcast with Brown's splits against lefties. But there's a couple things to consider. Number one, you're looking at a small sample size in a game that is defined by a large sample size. That's number one. Number two, you never pinch hit for Stephen Milam, despite the fact that he's hitting 200 in conference play. In large part because he's a switch hitter, so he can give you that favorable matchup on either side. You're never going to pinch hit for Jared Jones. My feeling is the same about Jake Brown. And how can you have an opportunity to improve your batting average against lefties if you're not getting ABs against lefties? Like, if you're only going to hit against righties and then sit against lefties, and you never have the Chuck E said, proud of Shores' outing. I agree. They need Shores to be great. I would compare Shores a lot to the way that I would compare Shores very favorably to how we thought about Thatcher Hurd in 2023. He was not great for the bulk of that season, but in the postseason, he was awesome when you needed him to be. Shores can throw 100. It's just finding consistency. If he finds his command, he's amazing. When you're 6'8" with that arm slot, you throw 100 and you can break off a slider and a changeup. Yes, he's a real weapon if he can command it. So here's hoping they will. Okay. And then one more. What happened with Jay being ejected? He was arguing balls and strikes. So you can't argue balls and strikes in college. You're automatically ejected. I hate it. It's an ump show. It's stupid. Give him a warning. Tell him to go back to the dugout. But I don't blame Jay at all for doing what he did. And then Caleb said, why bunt bottom of the ninth? Yeah, that was Aaron Beatty. My guess is, this is just a guess, and I don't know this. My guess is that was not called. The bunt in that situation to give up an out down 3 with one man on just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So, or for you had 2 on. So Aaron Beatty's pinch hitting and he represents the tying run. Like giving up an out in the 9th down 3 to get 2 in scoring position just doesn't make any sense. At that point, your outs are that's your lifeblood. I mean, you've only got 3 of them left in the game. You're not going to give up an out to advance 2 runners when you're down 3. My guess is in that situation, he probably saw the third baseman playing deep and thought he'd have an opportunity maybe to steal a base there. Just drop down a bunt, and take your base, and load him, and see if Hernandez behind him could come through. Didn't work out. You went strike out Aaron Beatty. He didn't get the bunt down, struck out. Then Hernandez lined out to end the game. Okay, that's going to do it for us here, y'all. I sincerely appreciate y'all for hanging out with us on this Mother's Day. Again, happy Mother's Day to all you moms. God bless all of you. Thank you for all that you do for all of us. We're not worthy of your love, but you give it unconditionally, and we're super grateful. And for all those who are celebrating today, whose moms have gone before us, God bless all of you today who are maybe struggling with that. Sincere thoughts and prayers. And maybe it's your first Mother's Day without your mom. If that's the case, God bless you. I hope the thoughts of joyful memories comfort you and your families today. So happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Thank you for your unconditional love, sacrifice, commitment to all of us. And we should express that every single day, but today's the day where we stop and we do express it. So God bless all of you, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms today. Okay, y'all, let's get out of here. If you're on podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And let a friend know if they love the Tigers. We got you every single day for Locked On LSU, your team every day.